You know that feeling, right? That knot of worry in your stomach before a big meeting or a tough conversation? It's totally normal. But what happens when that feeling kind of stops being a temporary guest and decides to move in for good? In this explainer, we're going to dig into that exact line, the one between everyday stress and something more.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Where does a really bad, stressful day end and an actual clinical condition begin? For a lot of people, that line can feel super blurry, but figuring out that distinction, that's the most important first step you can take. And just to give you a sense of scale, look at that number, 40 million. That's how many adults in the United States are affected by anxiety disorders. It's actually the most common mental health condition in the country. This means it's touching pretty much every family, every office, every community out there. And here's the key that separates everyday nerves from a clinical disorder. It's not just about having the feeling. It's about what that feeling does to your life. When worry becomes so constant, so intense, that it starts to mess with your work, your relationships, your ability to just live, that's the difference. It's all about the interference. So let's get into what anxiety actually feels like. Because, and this is so important, it's not just a state of mind. Oh no, it is a full body experience. It absolutely shows up in our thoughts, but it also has very real, very physical effects on us. I think this visual really nails it. It's like a battle on two fronts. On one side, you've got the mental stuff, that constant worrying, a sense of dread, maybe you start avoiding things. But on the other side, your body is right there with you. The racing heart, the shaking, the tight muscles. It's basically your body's fight or flight switch getting stuck in the on position, even when there's nothing to run from. And sometimes that experience can ramp up to a whole other level. A panic attack isn't just feeling really anxious. It's a sudden, overwhelming tidal wave of fear that can feel completely paralyzing. It's a really distinct and, frankly, terrifying event. You know, it's really easy to just say anxiety, but it's not one single thing. It's more like an umbrella term for a whole family of related but different disorders. Each one has its own personality, its own triggers, so let's take a look at some of the most common ones. First up, we have generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD. A good way to think of this is like free-floating anxiety. It's not attached to one specific fear, like a fear of heights or spiders. Nope. It's a chronic, excessive worry about all sorts of different things. Your health, your job, money, family, and often jumping to the worst-case scenario for no clear reason. And to get a clinical diagnosis, you have to meet certain criteria. The worry has to be your near constant companion for at least 6 months, and this is key, it has to feel almost impossible to control or turn off. And on top of that, it usually brings along some physical friends, like feeling restless, tired all the time, or having tense muscles. Okay, next is panic disorder. The real kicker here isn't just the panic attack itself, it's that they feel like they come out of nowhere. That unpredictability creates this awful cycle. The fear of the next attack becomes its own huge source of anxiety. People start shrinking their lives, just trying to avoid anything that might set one off. And the symptoms of a panic attack are just intensely physical and scary. I mean, imagine your heart is pounding out of your chest. You feel like you're choking or can't get a breath, and you're hit with this overwhelming feeling that something terrible is about to happen. So many people mistake it for a heart attack. It feels that real. Then we have social anxiety disorder, which is way more than just being shy. The real heart of it is this intense, persistent fear of being watched and judged by other people. The fear isn't of people themselves, but of being humiliated or rejected in front of them. And you can see right here how that fear just seeps into everyday life. Things that many of us take for granted, like public speaking or just starting a conversation, can feel like walking on a high wire without a net. It becomes so stressful that the easiest option just feels like avoiding those situations altogether. Okay, we've gone through some of the tough stuff, so it is absolutely essential that we talk about the path forward. Because here's the most important part of this whole story. Even though these conditions can feel overwhelming, there is real hope and there are clear ways to manage them. If you only remember one thing from all of this, please let it be this. Anxiety disorders are common and they are absolutely treatable. Having one is not a personal failure, and you really, truly do not have to go through it alone. So how do you get help? It really starts with 2 basic steps. First, just acknowledging it. recognizing for yourself that what you're feeling is more than just passing stress, and it's really affecting your life. And second, taking that huge, brave step to reach out for support by talking to a doctor or a therapist. So what does that support actually look like? Well, every person's journey is unique, but treatment usually follows two main paths that have been proven to be super effective. Let's break down the two main toolkits here. On one side, you have psychotherapy, or talk therapy. You can think of this as learning the why and how of your anxiety, getting to the root of it, and building real-world skills to manage it. A really common and effective type is CBT. On the other side, you have medication, which works on a biological level to help dial down the intensity of the symptoms. But, and this is so crucial, this is not an either-or choice. Effective treatment is almost never one-size-fits-all. For many people, the most powerful approach is actually a combination of both therapy and medication, working with a professional to create a plan that's just for you. And that brings us to one last really important question. Understanding all this stuff, the difference between worry and a disorder, the symptoms, the treatments, it's not just important for those who have anxiety, it's for all of us. So how can we take this knowledge and use it to build a more compassionate, more supportive community where nobody has to struggle in silence?